Let's talk about love. Hi there, it's Barbara. And as I mentioned in my previous video, this month we are going to talk about faith and love. Let's talk about love. So I quite remember some years ago, a little context before then. I had a very rough upbringing. Moreover, I never, as far as I can remember, I've never lived with my biological mom for a month before she passed. But then I have parents, and that transition was quite a difficult one for me. So I remember as a young girl, I found it difficult to love, especially my parents. And so when the issue of love comes up, it's quite a sensitive one for me to talk about. And I must say that I'm work in progress even to this age. Years back, this issue or this topic of love came up again, and especially the one towards parents, and it got me so emotional because I was that girl that questioned every decisions of my biological parents, every decision. The why did you do this? Why couldn't you wait for a conducive time? Why did you bring me here to suffer, to like every question that you've ever asked, I did. And so, as a young Christian girl, one day I went into prayer. Was it a prayer? I don't think so. I think one of those days when I was still doing the why. Then I asked the Holy Spirit to teach me how to love, especially my parents, because I don't know if they were the victim or I was the victim. But at that point, I think they were the victim because I found it difficult to love them. And so here I was that day in a dark room. I love being in dark spaces, and I guess that reflects my emotions. In that dark room, questioning every choice my parents made towards me. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me that, Barbara, you cannot love until you have loved the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And I said, I love the Lord my God. I do. But then he whispered to me, you need to develop a deep relationship with God. It is only true then that you can truly love. And so I am here today to remind you that the love that you find difficult to love, it requires you to establish a deep relationship with God. It requires you to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind. It requires you to continuously be in His presence, to yearn for a fellowship with Him, to yearn for a connection that will enable you to love the unlovable. Because when the issue of love comes up, we cannot do it without God, because God is love. And it is only spending time in His presence, it is only having a deep relationship with Him that our love for others can be an easy one. And remember, as Christians, our love will be tested. As a young girl, my love was tested. My love for my parents were tested. Even until when my mom had passed, I had this bitterness in my heart towards her. Because I could ask all the questions. Why couldn't you wait? Why did you bring me into these circumstances? And if you are here and you're in that situation that I found myself in years back, I'm here to tell you that the only way to love is to build a deep connection with God. The Bible says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son for the sake of you and I. And he also says that he didn't come for the righteous, he didn't come for those who are perfect, he came for us sinners. And so the only way we can exercise our faith, the fruitfulness of love, is to go back to the one who loves unconditionally, is to go back to yearn for a relationship with God. And so if you are here today and you found yourself in that situation that I found myself in years ago, I am here to tell you that you will never love until you have established a deep connection with God. And it is through that connection that you would learn how to love. And it is through that connection that loving others will be meaningful unto you. And so today, faith and love is teaching us to long for a deep relationship with God, to love God first, to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, with all our mind, and with all our soul. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you watched up to this point, follow, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on your notification button, and stay tuned for our next episode on faith